The first time I ever saw that black Escalade crawl onto the lot outside my garage, I swear it looked like trouble wrapped in leather seats, like a kingpin's ride from a movie. Something you'd expect to see in downtown Phoenix, not at the end of a sun-baked country road near Scottsdale. I remember the shimmer of heat bouncing off the cracked pavement, the old flag snapping above my shop, the world so quiet you could hear a single cicada complaining somewhere out by the mesquite. I was wiping sweat from my brow, thinking about nothing but the slow week, just oil changes, busted engines, the simple stuff that keeps you honest and lets your mind drift, when that Escalade rolled in, crunching gravel like it owned the place. Yeah, I noticed. And you know what I mean. Sometimes trouble just announces itself before anyone even gets out of the car. But it wasn't trouble. Not exactly. Out stepped this tall woman in a cream suit, posture straight as a fence post, her eyes hidden behind sunglasses that probably cost more than my entire toolbox. She walked fast, heels clacking, and beside her, moving slow and careful, was a girl in a little electric wheelchair, the left wheel squeaking on every turn, making a sound that cut through the desert stillness. The woman gave me a look that said she'd rather be anywhere else, but she was out of options. "Are you Joe Carter?" she asked, her tone clipped, not unfriendly but all business. I just nodded, told her that depended on who was asking, and she stuck out her hand, perfectly manicured. "Sabrina Winslow. My daughter Leia's wheelchair is acting up. It stalls, jerks. No one seems able to fix it. Someone local sent us here." I glanced at the kid, who was watching everything in this silent, measured way, brown eyes soft but not scared, head tilted just a little. I asked if I could take a look, knelt down beside her chair, and let my fingers trace the frame and wires with the kind of care you reserve for things that matter. There was dust, a rattle I didn't like, a servo grinding when I pressed on the wheel. "What happens when it stalls?" I asked, trying to keep it gentle, and to my surprise, it was Leia herself who answered, voice small but clear. "It gets stuck. Sometimes it jerks when I try to turn." I smiled at her, meant it, and told her that helped a lot. I got my tools. Told Sabrina they could wait on the porch if they liked. She hesitated, then followed Leia out to two battered lawn chairs under the awning. While I got to work like that wheelchair was the last thing holding the world together, I didn't speak for a long time, just listened, to the faint hum of the motors, to Leia's soft whispers asking her mom for her sketchbook, to the scratch of her pencil on paper while I soldered and swapped wires. Her fingers moved like she'd been drawing all her life. And Sabrina, watching, finally relaxed enough to chuckle. "She draws all the time," she said. "Says it's how she dreams, since her legs won't cooperate." That landed somewhere deep in me, you know? I've worked with veterans, seen what it means to lose something you count on. Freedom isn't about walking. It's about what you can do with your hands, your mind, your hope. After about an hour, I'd swapped out a corroded wire, cleaned up the motor, realigned the bearings, then disappeared into my back room and came out with a custom aluminum arm I'd welded on the fly. Attached it to Leia's chair, click, snug fit beside her left armrest, then backed off, wiped my hands, and said, "All right, sweetheart, want to give her a spin?" She hesitated, looked at her mom, and when Sabrina nodded, she pushed the joystick. The chair rolled smooth as silk. No more squeaks, no more jerks, just this wide-eyed look on Leia's face, like the world just got a little bigger. And then I told her about the new arm. "For your sketch pad. Should hold it steady while you draw, swivels out of the way, too." She gasped, Sabrina choked up, and suddenly I was standing in the middle of a miracle I didn't see coming. Nobody ever listened to her like that, Sabrina said, voice trembling. I just shrugged, said sometimes folks just need a tune-up, machines or people. She laughed through her tears, and I felt lighter than I had in years. The sun dipped, the cicadas fired up, and for a moment it felt like maybe, just maybe, I could fix more than broken machines. 2 days later, that Escalade rolled back up. I was working on an old-school bus. Didn't expect to see them again so soon. But there they were, Sabrina in jeans and a blouse. No sunglasses, softer somehow. Leia rolled up, beaming. "It's amazing, Mr. Joe. I've been drawing outside every morning." I swear, hearing that, my heart just about busted open. Then Sabrina handed me an envelope and a business card. "I didn't tell you last time, but I run a philanthropic foundation for Winslow Technologies. We fund mobility initiatives. There's a check inside. For you to rebuild your design shop. I know your old lab burned. That you used to help veterans, but then you lost everything. My hands shook as I opened that envelope. $250,000. Enough to change everything. I tried to protest, but Sabrina just smiled. Eyes shining. You restored more than a chair. You gave us hope. Leia handed me a drawing. Me, welding her chair, with wings behind me made of gears and light. I almost cried. Didn't, but almost. That was just the beginning. Next morning, I opened up my old shed, pulled tarps off machines I'd almost forgotten I owned. Bought new tools, got to work cleaning and fixing, thinking about what freedom really means. Word got out. Veterans, single moms, folks with nowhere else to turn, they all started coming by. I called it the Mobility Forge. Built ramps for a vet, a custom seat for a boy who couldn't sit still, a joystick trike for a kid with CP. One by one, I wasn't just fixing things. I was building trust, dignity, hope. Then one afternoon, the Winslows showed up again, this time with Ellen Green, director of their foundation. She toured the shop, then offered me a job running a new innovation hub in Phoenix, a think tank, fabrication lab, and training center for adaptive tech. Said they wanted someone with heart and grit to lead it. I had to laugh. Is that a real title? She grinned. It is now? Leia rolled in behind her, eyes bright. Would I still get to fix your chair? I asked. She nodded. You better. So I said yes. I was scared out of my mind, but I said yes. Because sometimes, you have to walk right up to what scares you and fix it anyway. Months later, I stood in a glass and steel building in downtown Phoenix, front of a crowd of CEOs, politicians, engineers. The banner said Winslow Mobility Innovation Hub, grand opening. I found Sabrina and Leia in the crowd, waved, stepped up to the mic. Never gave a speech before, I said. Folks laughed, but I told them the truth. How fixing a squeaky wheel brought me back to life. How every person who came to our lab would leave with more than tools. They'd leave with freedom. After the ribbon cutting, Leia brought me a new drawing. Me in a workshop, surrounded by people using devices I'd helped create, each one shining from the inside out. She'd written 3 words. You gave light. I knelt, said, You're the artist, kiddo. I just made the frame. Sabrina wiped a tear, said she never thought any of this would come from a dusty garage. I just said, Sometimes dust just needs a little light. Back at my shop, I trained kids and vets to build adaptive tech. A girl named Maisie was welding a bike part. Think I'll ever be as good as you? She asked. I told her, You'll be better. That's the point. Then the phone rang, an invite to consult for the White House. I stood there, grease on my hands, thinking how funny life can be. That night, the Escalade pulled up again. Sabrina had a pie, Leia a box. We brought something, Leia said. You two are always welcome here. I told them, and I meant it. We ate under the stars, talking about trust, about what it means to be seen, about how sometimes the thing that needs fixing isn't just a chair, but faith in each other. Leia grinned, called us heroes, and for once, I almost believed it. As the night settled, I looked up at the stars, whispered thanks, to fate, to a squeaky wheel, to the little girl who gave me back my purpose. Sometimes, life breaks in ways only kindness can fix. And sometimes, the right fix doesn't just move you. It transforms the whole world. So let me ask you, what do you think? Is it the big money, the big tech, or the small moments that really change lives? Leave a comment, share your story, tell me where you find hope. Maybe, together, we'll keep those wheels turning.